You know, we live in this amazing, connected world where everything just works. But have you ever really stopped to wonder how? Well, it turns out there's a kind of secret architect working behind the scenes. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most important organizations you've probably never heard of, IEEE.
I mean, seriously, just think about it for a second. You can buy a phone from one company, a laptop from a totally different one, a router from a third, and somehow they all connect to your Wi-Fi without a problem. How in the world is that even possible? It's not magic, I promise you. It's actually the result of some incredible worldwide coordination. And to really get why this coordination is so important, let's just imagine the alternative for a minute. Picture a world with no common rules for technology, where every single manufacturer just did their own thing. What would that even look like?
Well, it would look like a world of digital islands. Your phone wouldn't be able to talk to your laptop, your smart TV wouldn't have a clue how to connect to your router, every single device would be totally isolated, unable to communicate with anything else. It would be a complete and utter mess.
So what saves us from that chaotic digital nightmare? Well, the answer, in a huge way, is IEEE. They're the ones who build the bridges, the ones who connect all those digital islands into one big functional world.
So let's break this down. What exactly is IEEE? Well, at its heart, you can think of it as the publisher of the universal rulebook for a ton of our modern technology.
Okay, so the full name is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. It's this massive global organization, and one of its most important jobs is creating the technical standards that our entire digital world is built on, everything from wireless communication to networking.
Their mission really comes down to three huge things. First, making sure devices are compatible. That's the magic that lets different brands play nicely together. Second, they create the standard rules for how we communicate. And third, they make it possible for new tech to scale up globally, so a great idea from one lab can be used by literally everyone.
And when we say technical standard, we really do mean a rule book. It's a super detailed set of instructions that basically says, hey, if you want to build a device that can connect to Wi-Fi, it has to work in this exact way. It is the ultimate guide to getting along in the digital world.
Okay, now let's get a little more specific. IEEE has tons of standards, but there's one family of them that you use every single day, whether you know it or not. It's time to meet the famous 802 family.
The IEEE 802 series is, and I'm not exaggerating here, the bedrock of modern networking. Seriously, if you've ever connected to the internet, you've used a technology that was defined by one of these standards. They are, quite literally, the rules for getting connected.
And this is where it gets really cool. You already know these standards. You just call them by different names. See, 802.11, that's just the official technical name for what we all call Wi-Fi. That trusty old Ethernet cable you plug into your computer? Yep, that's 802.3. And the 802.15 standard? That's the foundation for personal stuff like Bluetooth.
Let's focus on wireless for a second, because IEEE's fingerprint is all over it. They don't just give us the name Wi-Fi, they define every new version, like Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 7. They specify the core tech, like OFDM and MIMO, that makes it all so fast. They even set the politeness rules for how dozens of your devices can share the network without just shouting over each other.
Now, it's really important to understand that IEEE isn't the only rulemaker out there. They've got a specific area they focus on, and it really helps to see how they fit into the bigger picture of our connected world.
The easiest way to think about it is like this. IEEE handles the local game. That's your home network, the office Wi-Fi, the connection at the coffee shop. That's their world. The other big player, an organization called 3GPP, handles the wide area game, which is all the cellular stuff like 4G and 5G that keeps you connected when you're out and about. Both are absolutely essential. They just operate in different spaces.
Okay, so far we've talked about IEEE as a rule maker, but that's really only one part of the story. They are also a massive, massive engine for innovation and progress across all of engineering.
So beyond just standards, IEEE is the hub for the entire global engineering community. They publish the research papers and they host the big conferences where the next world-changing ideas are born. And this creates this awesome cycle, right? Groundbreaking research leads to new tech, and that new tech needs new standards to make it work for everyone.
And that's exactly why, for any engineer working in these areas, understanding IEEE isn't just a nice-to-have, it's the language of the industry. If you want a job in networking or wireless, you have to know these standards. It's the key that unlocks how all that theory gets applied in the real world.
So, to bring it all home, if you remember one thing, it's this. IEEE defines the rules that make our technology actually work together.
And the most obvious result of those rules, the everyday magic of your Wi-Fi connection. At the end of the day, IEEE is that invisible force that turns a pile of separate gadgets into the seamless connected world we all rely on every single day. So, now you know who writes the rulebook. But that kind of brings up the real question, doesn't it? What's actually in the book? What are those technical secrets, things like OFDM and MIMO, that let us send so much data flying through the air? Well, that's a story for another time.